and distractions. Intentions for this call is the ones that are on the agenda for today, which is to have a brief update on all the topics that are mentioned there. And then distractions is that I'm in Akasha in my office, so a lot of people comes back and forth. So if I get interrupted, it's because I'm in the office. I will pass it on to Pam.
My intentions for today is just to check in with Hatch Outreach and see where we are. And more importantly, like what we do next. Like concrete, like I'd love concrete next steps for us. And me too. And yeah, distractions. No, I don't have any right now. So I'm good. And I'll pass to Zep.
Thank you, Tom. Yeah, I'm also doing check-in. And I want to say I just changed the name on the calendar. Maybe the guy who was just before, it's because it keeps saying onboarding. So I just changed that and it's Hatch Outreach, so there's no confusion. And I don't have any distraction, and I'll pass it to Griff.
Thank you so much for doing that, Zep. Yeah, for me, I would love to, I guess my intention is to go through that spreadsheet and just maybe divvy out some hatchers to outreach to, or I'm assuming we're still going through the spreadsheet, and add some new people to the list, and maybe just try to have a hack session since it's just 4 of us. It's very nice.
Great. Yeah, I sent a message to Griff asking to change the name, but he didn't read it. So we will go on the easy ones today in the agenda. So renaming of the group, that was quite an easy one. We basically had to change everything to Hatcher's Outreach. I just have a question regarding this. Is Hatcher Outreach the correct name or Hatch Outreach the correct name? I know that we talk about Hatcher Outreach, but since we are talking about also proposal, and it's the hatch where we're aiming, and also the outreach of the hatch. I don't know if probably Hatch Outreach was a better name than Hatcher, and not being just specific about the Hatcher. I don't know what you guys think about it. It's a bit.
I like Hatch Outreach better because it includes projects.
All right. What do you think, Cam?
Yeah, I agree.
Easy voting, you see? Okay, so I will take the ER from every document now and change it again. But yeah, so we have basically updated Discord, also in the new Discord. Thanks to Jess for that. We also changed SendHub and GitHub name. Thanks, Time, for that. We changed calendar. Thanks, Septimus, for that. And we have updated Hello Livy. We have updated the forum on most of the documents, also the notes, also the agenda, also the manifesto, and so on. We are keeping onboarding just in some aspects, saying onboarding of hatchers. So that's the only word we have kept in certain documents. I wanna guys invite you to let me know if you see the word onboarding working group anywhere else. If you see it pop it out, just let me know and I will change it because probably I missed some of that in the forum mainly probably or somewhere else. So yeah, so that has been updated. So that's on the easiest task of this week. I didn't create an issue, GitHub issue for that because I didn't feel like it was such a big deal. But anyways, so the next one we have the AMA call. This is the other easy aspect of this agenda point. We had 2 guests today on the AMA call. We had, I don't remember, I cannot pronounce his name, but it was a guy based on Nepal who was quite interested and had quite the knowledge about it. Like he didn't need much explanation of many things. Like his questions were like very specific and for me quite relevant because I feel that the questions that he was asking came from a very honest place of I really want this information and I really want to know more about this because I can actually use this. So he was a really nice guy. And he's also a really nice. Where he came from. He came from Griff. Basically, he was following Griff on Twitter, and then since that he also saw Levy's uh, its Denver presentation, and then he saw and he was praised by the tweet by in Twitter. He was praised. That's how he got aware of how this exists, and then he jumped into the call because of that. So the praise system, even if it's externally applied, it actually makes people get curious about it. So I feel that's a nice feedback, very naively, because it's not something it was intended like that, but I feel that's something to take in consideration um, further on. So in the AMA call, we have that, and we have Ruben coming in with two questions. The first one was regarding well, the question from the Nepal guy was about the implementation of the quality against quantity and how we measure that and how we give value to this proportion of stuff. And Libby then explain um, the proportions and the praise system and how we were trying to achieve this kind of leverage and balance. So Ruben asked about what was the minimum required or uh, to be a hatcher, and then he also asked uh, what was in there for someone to be a hatcher. Like what are the returns or what are the return of the investment, if you wanna. It's not like that, but like he asked it like this. What will people receive back from being a hatcher? So those were the questions that we had. It was the first time I moderated this call. So Lily, if you have any feedback regarding the call, it would be nice to hear about it. Or something that you were also present.
No, I think you summarized it well.
So we basically with Lily we talk about every Wednesday we will switch. Sorry, yes.
Those are good questions. Do we add them to the FAQ?
I add the minimum is already asked on the FAQ, and then the other one, no, we should add it. I will add it now. There are some questions in the FAQ that needs to be answered. I will share my screen so we can check it.
Yeah, that doc needs a little attention. Maybe we could even do it at the end of this call if.
Yeah.
Since we'll probably have a little.
You guys watch my screen? Yeah.
I can't see it quite yet. Oh, got it.
Okay, so we have these questions. Some of them are not answered yet. Some of them are not answered yet. Some of them have been answered. So we should add here. Okay, and then the minimum question. We can actually divide this eventually in money-related question, legal-related question, process-related question, because these are the main three topics that people keep asking, like money-wise, like so how much, what do I get, etc. Process-related question, which is basically how do I get this or what do I do this, and then the legal aspect is like, oh, but why do like how does this protect me or why do I have to be a member of the Swiss Association, whatever. So I think we can divide the FAQ in these three categories: money, legal, and process. If you guys think that's correct, can we change this? Give me a moment. And if you can jump into the document and update it and just answer some of the questions, that would be also great if you have the time to it.
Sure.
Okay. So yeah. So we have that on the FAQ. So the next thing regarding this.
Can you post the FAQ in the agenda, or is it there somewhere?
Oh yeah, I will post it. Give me a second.
Thank you.
There you have it, Libby. Okay, so we have the FAQ, the AMA call. I think we can also spread the word a little bit more. It would be nice if at least the stewards and so on reshare or retweet or whatever form of sharing, like LinkedIn or so on, for the AMA call. I think it's a nice way to connect with people and just explain and so on. And yeah, so I think it's a little bit like the AMA call. It's quite the pre-phase of the community call. I think people that goes to the community call can also, like, it's like it fits one another for some reason, and I think that's good. So that's it on the AMA call. Then we have the community call pitch presentation. That's another topic I would like to talk. I got caught off guard because I didn't know about the process that of the presentation and the community calls. I didn't know I was assigned to find people. So I talked to Jess yesterday, the day before yesterday, regarding this topic. So she was because I don't have like the amount of contacts and connections that she has to know when and how to bring people. So I opened this space to ask for help in this with any of you guys who have more people and know more people and are willing to present or have something to present. Until I probably it will take me 15 days to a month to actually finishing reaching out people to be part of this community call. Today we had a call with Jess with another proposal of Decade, which is the guys that she posted on the community stewards group just a few minutes ago, and they were willing to present. We need to still wait for confirmation because they already have a presentation and everything set up. So it's just that the presentation is a bit long. It takes around 15 minutes to be explained entirely to 20, so it's maybe too big for that. But what I will bring to this call, I don't know if it is called what I aim for, but just to keep in mind the idea of having an extended community presentation page for anyone who is willing to or wanting more information about someone who pitched or a proposal. I think it's a nice mechanism further down the road. If you have proposals that have been presented 5 minutes and they just want to, or they need more time, or the community wants to know more, if we can have eventually, maybe not now, but eventually to have a longer community call, just pitch section. So people can just join, ask questions to the proposals if they have, and so on. Just to keep that in mind, if that makes any sense. It falls more into your lap, Livy, I think, but I just had that idea and I wanted to bring it up.
So what I heard was that you still find someone for the spotlight tomorrow.
We are waiting for confirmation for tomorrow, but there is nothing confirmed yet.
Okay, so because I mean, if you need someone, then like I have some people in mind, but time zones are always a thing, and checking calendars. So should I reach out and should I just start reaching out to people and just talk about this week or next week, and just say like that?
You can just send them to me and just like, hey, reach out this guy. He has a spot for a presentation, whatever, and I can follow it up immediately. I just don't have the contact.
Okay, I guess what I'll say is I'll start asking a couple people, and if they say yes, then I'll send them to you, because they're more likely to say yes to me, and then you can coordinate if it's this week or next week.
Yeah, perfect. That will be perfect.
Okay.
Thank you so much. Okay,
Does
moving on.
anyone,
So we have
really quick, does anyone else have people that they can think of that might want to give spotlight?
alrighty. Yeah, it's not that easy. Most of our own community has been, through that. Hey there, Juan.
Who are you waiting to hear back from, Eduardo?
It's they have a complicated decade working the decade proposal. It's a peer-to-peer education project, and it's quite interesting. They presented to us the project, and it's in order to submit a proposal. So it's two projects in one. One is the one that leads that project, and the other one is that project by itself. So it's interesting. It's education related, and it's quite interesting the way they sort of they gamified it. They didn't gamify, but they make education social and direct in a way. So that's interesting. So now the heavy part, hatchers and proposals. So I will share my screen and open some links. Give me a moment. Oh, by the way, I updated the manifesto, the Hatchers Outreach Manifesto, and then in the bottom of the I don't know if you guys can see the screen. I hope you can. Yes. So at the bottom, you will see the present GitHub issues and the main ones that are relevant, and a brief explanation of what these issues are meant to. So if we go to onboarding ourselves, which is the issue 385, my computer is quite slow today. So can we go through the checking of how are we on the process of onboarding ourselves? Ham? Hello, Metaverde.
Oh, fast meeting.
So where are we? If I look in there, the last one that I did with you was Ludo and Nicolene. And I don't have any other updates oh yeah, I do. We also onboarded Dan. Yes. Put an X in it. We also onboarded Dan, and I will say, I think Livia, you might have already onboarded Juan Carlos. Juan Carlos, you're here too, so you might answer them as well. Cool.
Yes, what I wanted to say is that I am still having a trouble with the CS page, and it tells me that I am not a trusted seed member.
Yeah, Juan Carlos, we added your issue to the bugs GitHub for the Swiss Association group. And we're going to look at it right after this call, actually. So we'll see where we are with that.
Yeah, thanks, Juan, for beta testing. Thank you so much. And reporting the issue. Sorry, Eduardo, you're muted.
Yes, sorry. If you have, Juan and Libby, any feedback from your calls or from Dan call?
I also want to onboard my brother as a hatcher. So I have already talked with him, and he is very excited. But maybe it would be nice if there is another person in the call with me.
Sure. Libby, you're in the same time zone of Juan? Is that okay with you?
Yeah, that sounds good.
Great. Shall we add then? Sorry.
Has he already applied for Trusted Seed? To be Trusted Seed? Because that would definitely be the first step. Juan Carlos, sorry, I don't know if you could hear me.
Yes, I think he has applied through the trusted seed, but he has not paid the dues.
Yeah, no one's paid the dues yet. He won't even be able to pay the dues if he tried. Just so you know, but it's still very much in beta. But we're hopefully, if we fix your issue, that's like the last big one.
Thanks, Chris. Can you add to this list? What is your brother's name, Juan?
Jose Bell.
Can we add him to this list? And then just to do a check-in, I wrote to Jonas. I'm waiting for his answer to onboard himself. Then what about Craig Levy? I don't know if you have Jake is not present, so I will ask you about Craig onboard.
Jake onboarded Craig.
Nice. So we have that checked too.
Yep, he gave a soft commit.
Great. So we have left Marco Cam.
One of us just got to make the appointment. It's really about like making the appointment. It's taking up the most time, isn't it? Finding a time on our calendar that works. But since you and I and Marco are in the same time zone, we should be able to do this.
Yeah. I will write to Marco then to set up the appointment if that's okay for you.
Yeah. Yeah, my mornings are best. Is mornings good for you? Because I could chat with him right now while we're talking. While you can. Yeah.
Anytime for me. Great. So from the community stewards, everyone has been onboarded. Am I correct? Except for Marco.
Sebnem doesn't have a lot of time, so she's going to pass until we're out of user testing of the Swiss Association. So she's one of the stewards that'll come later.
Okay. Besides Sebnem and Marco, no one else.
Has Jess been onboarded?
No, actually, I don't think she's been onboarded.
I don't see Ivy there as well.
Yeah, I would say this wasn't the complete stewards list. This was just what we were starting with. So if we want to go back and make this list complete, we can add those now too.
Yeah, we should add. I mean, since we have finished most of them, I think the organized common sense for me says that we need to finish the community stewards. Evie and Jess will be the ones to be added. And then what about the Swiss Association Dev team?
I'm going to let them focus on the testing, and then I think I'll onboard them afterwards.
Okay, that's good. And decentralized CDJS, who came on the last call. Do you remember him? He needs to be onboarded, so he's not part of the trusted seed, so I will just write him up and check with him if he has applied or not.
Yeah, there's also someone that came to the last onboarding call, Heater. He wanted to be onboarded as a hatcher as well.
Do you have his handler or his username?
Yeah, let me put in there.
Yeah, thank you. If you can put it in the agenda with the other names, that would be amazing.
Can I make a suggestion?
Okay. Yes.
I wonder if it doesn't make sense for us to keep track of the different audiences in different ways. Jorge, Juan Carlos's brother, and Decentralized SDG are super new to the community. So they first need to do the application for Trusted Seed, and then that needs to be approved. And then, so I wonder if and also the conversation with them will probably be a lot different than this issue, which is us, the community stewards and CS. So I wonder if we just take this out of, like, we don't make this the tracker for all hatchers, but we keep this focused on like the very active community members, and then we have another issue where we're tracking less active people or people who have demonstrated interest.
I agree. I don't know, like the only exception that I may think of it's Juan's brother because maybe I don't know how close he is in knowledge. So I don't know how, like that's the only exception. You're completely correct regarding decentralized SGS and the other guy that Livy mentioned. Maybe the only exception I will make will be Juan Carlos' brother, but that's up to his knowledge or how much he knows or he has applied or not, and so on. But yeah, you're right. We should stick to the community stewards and then follow down the lane the other members of the community.
Where are you adding these names to a ZenHub issue?
Yeah, in the Center Hub issue, or I just add it on the agenda, and then I will pass it on to the issue because my computer is quite slow and I cannot do things at the same time.
I can just create another one if you want while we're talking, and I'll separate the so it's more clear. Does that work?
Yeah. You can, one that is like external people who show interest in their, satellites, and then the community stewards or the close community people. Alrighty, thank you, Dan. So we have also the next point on it would be the updates on the hatchers regarding grief list. So you were mentioned, Griff, about you had new people.
I have Marcus Koch next week, and I talked to a couple of people actually, but neither one of them, a couple other people, but neither one of them gave soft commits. They wanted to research the project a little bit. So these were impromptu calls. One was the lead, Justin from New Cipher, and the other one is oh my gosh, I forget his name, but he's been to a couple of calls and he's a graviton. He will be a graviton. So he's excited about it, but hasn't just refused to give me a number. So still in the process. But I do have a call with Marcus. He works for Balancer, used to work for Block Science, and I'm going to start targeting more token engineers like that. That's my
Great.
So,
I have a quick question here. It was brought up by Metaverde in last week, and it's regarding. I feel sometimes because I experience myself with people from certain proposals like wildcards and so on that they are so busy sometimes that they just when you contact them out, like you mentioned, Griff, they want to know more information and resources about the project, but sometimes since we don't have a brief document or a brief video or whatever form of presentation you can call it, we don't have that. Sometimes it's not that they lose interest, we lose the tempo, let's say in a way. We lose the momentum of being there with that at the moment. And so trying to solve this situation, I talked to Yes yesterday regarding the onboarding welcoming video. So we are trying to draft a video that can, probably a video, could be another medium, could be illustrations, could be animation, whatever you want to call it, but a sort of a presentation that will have briefly explain what it is. So I gave her some links to a studio of illustration animation friends who does things very fast and quite efficiently, for them to see if we can work with them and develop this quite soon as possible. Because I have just detected that there is a lack not only of visuals but also brief content that we can just send and catch people's attention and keep them on the loop. Because I feel that sometimes we lose them mainly because we don't have something to keep them on the loop and it's not clear. So I want to hear your feedback about this, guys.
Can I add something? Sam actually upload the Livy presentation on the Temboard, and it's a short video and she explains everything. I think me and Sam were talking about that can be a meanwhile the onboarding video is being created, that we could use that one with that purpose.
Can you send me the link on Telegram, Septimus, and then we can see if maybe we can take that video and leave it. That's okay for you and for everyone else to maybe illustrate something or animate something over her voice also, and then like do a little bit voice. I don't know how the presentation is, so I'm talking about it, completely ignorant. But to dynamize a little bit more that content, I don't know, just throwing ideas out there.
Yeah, I might have got the wrong link, Eduardo, because the video I got was like scenery and music, and then there was something at the bottom of the page about some kind of goals being reached for funding, and it was like, it wasn't some huge amount, and I was just like, what on earth is this?
And we recently,
yeah, that would really help a lot if we had something to show people, like what is a hatcher going to do? Like when you're asking someone to be a hatcher, not like some big long drawn out explanation, just like really simply, you're going to join the Swiss Association for this, just like 5 sentences, get it down to 5 sentences, so that we don't need big complicated explanations like for the soft sell immediate, because there's a lot of people interested.
That was the test hatch that we did. That's why the number is small, because it was actually a beta test of the development.
Right. But I mean, it's not something I can show someone and then they're going to understand what anything's about.
So for you guys, do you think it's a good idea to then have this problem? I will take a look at your presentation, Livy, to see, what we can do with that. But do you think that's a good idea to just make this small, or take Livy's video and just make it a little bit more dynamic and just filter it through everyone, see if everyone else agrees, and then just have that piece of content done? Because I just feel that we have delayed this process quite a long time. We have done the documentation process. The documentation is ready. We have that on the forum. That's done. We have sort of finished many of steps, but this part, it's a piece missing. So I'm just checking with everyone if that process works for you.
yeah, I would say we can use that video for now to, like, people are asking what is the TC, we can send that, and then the animation sounds really cool for something a little more permanent, like not permanent, but that could be used for a longer time, of like what is happening, like an explanation in images, like the fractal of all of the working groups, and then like the bigger picture zoomed out, and then people can understand things that are harder to say in language, and then use the animation for this purpose.
Yeah, and this is coming from Drift's the Common Simulator section, and I feel that, as I explained last week, it was extremely helpful, that the Common Simulator, because it's helpful, it's visual, and it's easy to understand. Sorry, Griff, what were you
I was going to say that the commonstack.org/ is very nice to show people, and or for the anime. The other big thing is that I would agree that we need a thing hatchers specifically. Like, yeah, there's a lot of work groups. Yeah, there's. I think we have content that, like you're saying, we need that steps to become a hatcher. A little blocked by the Swiss Association, the Swiss membership app, but I don't think it has to be a block. Getting it to basically,
Sorry.
And also the why.
Griff. I don't know if it is you, but you get caught every few seconds. I don't know if, you get like the robotic a little bit.
I'm sorry. Better?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Cool. Yeah, I was just saying, I believe that how to become a hatcher is in the works. And then there's the why to become a hatcher, which would be really nice, probably to focus on.
I was thinking, and I proposed to Jess yesterday, to think about the forest and the tree. So we can make small pieces that build up the forest. We can make the pieces for how to become a hatcher or what is a hatcher, and just build up. If we don't have the bandwidth to build a visual for the entire forest, just start piece by piece. Like Livy's video is a piece of this. So it's just about giving giving it an integrity and like a coherence in between these pieces that will eventually lead to it. So if we think about how to become a hatcher, we need something to respond to the present as in now, because that's the piece that needs to be for that context. If we think about the hatch in March, it means we will need a piece that explains that in the context of March when we hatch. If we need a piece about voting, conviction voting. So, but at the end of the day, we'll probably have pieces that will integrate each other and will be answering in the moment what we are needing. Because sometimes what happens is that we are in the moment and we are in this part of the process, but we don't have something to explain it properly. And we go through meetings having the same questions and so on. So yeah, I will try to work it out with Jess to see how we can sort of get there, if that's okay for everyone.
Yeah, and I definitely like the idea of two separate pieces. The how is one small context focused, and the why is.
I don't know if this helps in any way, but the people that I'm thinking about are all like devs in crypto, that, you know, like people that I worked with on projects a couple years ago and stuff. And so I don't know if that helps at all in thinking about how to make the video, but I know people who are interested in the actual token engineering, but maybe might not have a reason to join the token engineering commons or to be supportive, right? So it's something that kind of, that's my personal direction that I'm looking.
Thank you, Mr. Verde. Yeah, I will probably get back at you to have feedback on this and see, yeah, what is your feedback on this piece? Livy, were you gonna say something?
Yeah, also now that you're saying, I think it would make sense to have a very like step-by-step onboarding video of how to become a hatcher. Like first you apply to the trusted seed, then you enter the membership, and then because it is very like one step after the other, and then there's the onboarding call. Like for Ruben question today, for example, if he had watched a little video like that, he probably would have passed to other people already and wouldn't have to come to the call. And
yeah, I think right now, let's say that the call, it's like a replacement of this piece that we are missing, and it's our way to answer this lack of content. But there will be times where we won't have the answers, or the person, the working group is not there, or or the dev team is not there, whatever it is. So I think this is why I was thinking about this context of the forest and the trees. It's just build some trees and then we will get the forest eventually. Sorry, it's a very cheesy metaphor, but that's the only one I have right now. So I think that it's pretty much all. Yeah, that's pretty much all. Griff, if you need help again with the hatchers, we can again divide it and do teamwork to achieve it. Mainly because it will be helpful for the frequently asked questions. We got a lot of questions out of the meetings that I was with you, and it was really clarifying. And I think it will be nice also if, for example, Livy, who were also onboarding ourselves, also joined at some of these calls at some point. Not every call, of course, but some of them, because I do think it gives perspective about our own content and how do we expose or share this with external people.
Cool.
So just let it.
Who wants to come to the Marcus call? Let me get the time. Marcus is in Brazil, and it's next week on Tuesday at 9 a.m. New York time. So that would be 3 p.m. Europe time. Does anyone want to score that spot?
yeah, I can come.
Okay,
that'd be, that'd be fun, Livia. Got to get you more connected.
Amazing. Thank you so much. So yeah, that will pretty much all. Tam, just a little bit back at you. I left some comments on some issues on GitHub for us to review. So yeah, if you want to get back at me at any moment regarding that, it will be nice. Or just answer me there.
Okay, I haven't seen it yet. I apologize. I haven't had a chance to look at it today.
That's okay. So thank you so much,
just-
everyone.
Wait, actually, I know we have a few minutes, and if there's nothing else, Griff, I wonder if we can schedule a time. I'm speaking with Ruben about Ruben, Luke, and Pat all together. You and I hatching, onboarding the three of them. But I don't even know how we're going to find a time for everyone. So I wonder if you and I can sync first, and then
I can step in. I was the one who reached out to Ruben to onboard him. So if you don't have bandwidth, don't worry. Just throw it at me, and I can be present with you or just Griff. So you don't have to double. I can fill the shoes of any of you if you don't have bandwidth.
Okay, cool. Yeah, he said he came to you with a bunch of questions, and you answered them all great. But he still wants like the more formal one-on-one onboarding, and I think it'll be worth us doing.
I'll send you a picture of my calendar like next week, and you can see if we can score.
Yeah, if Griff cannot attend, yeah, I mean the technical aspects, I guess Griff needs to answer them.
Yeah. So I'm thinking for people like that, like hardcore token engineers, like Luke and Pat. Yeah. I really think it's from my perspective, it's the first like hardcore token engineer that I'm going to be onboarding myself. So I asked Griff if he could sort of be my backup in this, like if he can help me in case I can't answer something, and that's why I want to do it with Griff.
Yeah, I was thinking about, is there someone else from DevSpec or parameters that can be there present? Like just to be aware of that. Like if Griff cannot be present, who else can be present? Because is there no one else? We need to have someone who can be present when Griff is not.
I think there's different categories of hatchers actually. And in most cases, like honestly, Jake and I make a great team, I find. So, and he's got a lot of the tech params in his head already. There's just with certain particular hatchers, people that are doing this themselves. I actually really think Griff is probably the most valuable person for that, at least until we've done this a little bit more. Maybe.
Yeah, exactly. It'll be great if you lead it, and then I'm just like there. Right, and then I'll try not to lead. It's really hard for me. I'll try, and then
can we? Sorry, keep going.
I was just gonna say, and then once you've done it 2 or 3 times, then I'm sure you'll have. And I think the other people that could answer the technical question are probably Sem. I mean, wow, yeah, it is pretty bad, huh?
We're getting there, though. We'll get there. It's just
I mean, the biggest challenge is that we haven't really gotten past the hatch, and after the hatch is where all the technical stuff is. So all the technical documentation and all that stuff, like it's kind of all focused on the hatch, but like no one's like, oh, you're starting another public DAO where I put money in. Okay, I don't care. Like that's kind of the vibe. It only gets interesting when it becomes, no, this is actually something that can be rejected, where you actually this will become like a big deal, and you can actually, not only can you support the future development and advanced token engineering, you can also even make money. And then it's like, oh, wow, impact investment, way more interesting.
Yeah, I think these calls with Ruben's potential hatchers, what will be really good is to have transcription of these calls so we can actually get the questions that we not even ourselves understand, and just have it in the frequently asked questions just to have them identify, because Tam, you will identify the question that you don't know how to answer. So if we just identify these questions and then filter them and see and trying to understand the brief answer if we can understand it, and then see if we can actually take on that. I think that will be a very helpful call, actually.
Yeah, and honestly, all of these guys, they're on our team, right? We don't have to be so like, this is not a sales call or super professional. Dude, these guys want us to succeed. They're our friends. We just tell them, hey, Tam is gonna try this the first time, and they're like, oh, that's so cool. Yeah, and then they're like, oh yeah, so I do have a technical question, da da da. And then yeah, and it's actually really nice. It's more real that way.
It is. Yeah.
And so Tam, I'll take notes while you're talking, Tam. You take notes while I'm talking, and we'll get it out.
Yeah, and that's what we've been doing, right? Like the second is the person who takes down those kinds of questions, so then we can add it to the FAQ.
Alrighty.
That's why we're tag teaming these. It actually really helps to have a second person.
Yeah. All right. Is there something else anyone wants to express, mention, or comment?
Did we just did we assign people to, like, who are we? Maybe we can just do a quick round and try to this week.
Sorry, I didn't hear the last part.
Sorry. Maybe I could suggest that we just do a quick round of like people that we're going to try to this week and see if anyone has, like, so we can just give people a chance. Or if they say, I want to onboard someone. So like, I can lead. For instance, I want to reach out to a few more token engineers and set some more appointments. And I'd be excited to invite a few other people to them when the appointment's settled. But I'm definitely, the only one I have on the books right now is Marcus, at least that I can think of off the top of my head. I'll pass it to Tam.
So the people that I'd like to onboard dev team is 4 people, but I'd really like to not take any of their focus away from finishing the DApp. So I'm planning to do it after that goes more live publicly. And then Luke Rubin and Pat, if you can join too, from Prime DAO. And I'll pass to Olivia.
Yeah, I could continue to onboard people from the community, like Mateo, and I don't know. I think there's a big list of people that I should take note here. Trying to remember who else comes to the calls that haven't been onboarded yet. Does anyone else has suggestions?
I will onboard Lorenzo, who I work with, and Igor. Remember we talked about Igor, who is also people who is related to my working space. So these two, I have them. I haven't put them on the list. So if we have the link to the new issue tab where we put the external people who are satellite, I can add the names to that list. I don't know, Juan and Septimus or Metaverde, if you have someone else that you may be interested on.
Jessica and Seth Goldfarb, the crypto writer, are in contact, and he had asked me about what becoming a hatcher involves, and I'm sure that Jessica can handle that. So he would be an idea. And I had a really quick question, and I'm thinking the answer is no. This isn't like a non-profit where people can write off donations, right? Because we're decentralized DAO, so that's not really in the picture.
That is true. In fact, they should be able to make money off of this, so it wouldn't make sense for them.
Okay. No, that was okay. Perfect. Yeah. So just the I have some like dev people I can reach out to, but they're not. I haven't really talked to them about it yet because I don't feel like I'm coherent and persuasive enough. So that's what I've got.
What about you, Juan, besides your brother or Septimus?
Yeah, I don't know many people outside tech, so yeah, I think I'll pass on that.
I think that we can start with my brother, and then maybe we could also reach to some of the other guys in the Ethereum Colombia community, because I feel they are very trustworthy, and they're yeah, very involved in this in these projects.
Amazing. Can we just add to the list him just Ethereum Colombia just to remember, just to have that on the loop, to have that reminded later on.
Yeah, and I was going to say, Livia, you might want to reach out to maybe Nate.
You cut. Reach out to who?
The book club people that were active in the.
Yeah, I can talk to Nate and who else was there? Also, did you onboard Niran already?
I did.
Barada.
Beretta seems a little difficult to get a hold of, but maybe I can try to reach out to him.
Great. This was a quite productive meeting. Alrighty. Okay, guys, we have 5 minutes before the next call, so I will leave you to it. Thank you so much for being today here and joining us, and I hope to see you next Wednesday.